Even the Chicago Bears are finding Illinois less appealing. I mean, my God, what are they looking at? Moving to Indiana?
State Representative Martin McLaughlin talking about Illinois' ongoing migration to other states. He highlights how even the Chicago Bears seem to be wanting to move out of the state of Illinois. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. You can get the headlines in your inbox at the Center Square. One of the headlines you'll see comes from our contributor Glenn Minnis. Report: more people continue leaving Illinois than arriving. And this is based off of a Atlas Van Lines report detailing the migration levels from their customers. So let's go through this and hear some of what you've got Martin McLaughlin sounding off on. All right, I'm Greg Bishop, editor of Illinois at the Center Square. So you can go to thecentersquare.com and find out more about what we've got going on. So let's get to this. All right, the 2025 Migration Patterns Study from Atlas Van Lines. All right, they give a chart here and they show that Illinois is actually considered balanced than it's been in the past, though there's still more people moving out than in. Let's go ahead and open that image in a new tab here so we can get a little bit of a close-up. So you can see Illinois is 54% out, 46% in. So we still have more people moving out of Illinois than moving in. This shows the 17th year, at least from this particular study, Atlas Van Lines. It's a private moving firm. You know, they're not a government entity, but, you know, they collect data as well. And they put these reports out just to kind of show where people are moving to. And you can see, people moving out of Illinois, people moving into Missouri, people moving into Indiana, people moving into Wisconsin, people moving out of Iowa, people moving into Tennessee, people moving into Arkansas. You've got Florida's balanced,
so as a person
and
in the professional,
so on. And New York is considered balanced, but 53% people moving out. So this is just it's an interesting review of migration trends that aren't coming from the federal government. So you have these private companies that put these numbers out every year. Then you have the federal government that also puts out numbers indicating migration patterns. We're waiting on the U.S. Census to release their annual state-by-state estimates. Typically, that comes out before Christmas. This past Christmas, though, I think because of the federal government shutdown that happened throughout October, delayed everything. So that's why we're getting delayed numbers. And expect to see those numbers January 27th. So we'll see exactly what the real number is of Illinoisans that moved out of the state of Illinois and whether that offsets people moving into the state of Illinois. Keep in mind, those annual population estimates for the past 11 years, 10, a full decade, was outbound migration. Last year's numbers, the only reason it was not outbound migration is because the number of people from Illinois moving to other states was offset by the number of international residents moving into Illinois. So people from outside the country moving into Illinois. That offset the number of Illinoisans moving to other states for the first year in 11 years. You also have, so we're going to get updated numbers on that later this month. January 27th, I believe, is when the census is going to be releasing that data. You also have the IRS migration data. That's always interesting. And I got to double check on when that comes out, but typically that's also is an annual thing where they show just how much money is moving from one state to the next. So how much of tax revenue is moving from Illinois to other states. These are things that you got to consider. And that number from the IRS has also traditionally been for Illinois outbound money. So we're not just losing people, we're losing people with money, and that money's going to other states. And at the same time, we see stagnant population, if not decreasing population. That impacts the schools because there's fewer kids in the schools, but the cost of schools continues to go up and the cost of Illinois spending continues to go up. So, question is obviously how do you justify that? But State Representative Marty McLaughlin, he has some thoughts about exactly what this means. He says there's two issues to consider here.
So as a person in the professional sector who manages money and invests in companies for a living, I've been analyzing the not just the out-migration statistics, but when you get a moving company, you actually buy insurance on the goods that are inside of the van. What's interesting is when you go one step deeper than us losing about 60,000 people last year, what's inside of those moving vans is of a significantly higher value than what and who is moving in to the state. So we're not just losing 60,000 people last year. We're losing 60,000 people with means. And that's two problems. One, we're losing those who earn more. And two, when you add it up over the last 10 years, it's about 1 million people. And the adjusted gross income that has left the state that we no longer receive taxes on is a massive problem for her and the spendocrats, because they do not have a solution for the adjusted gross income that are not only leaving in valuable furniture and art in those vans, but they're losing the tax base of the more affluent or upper middle class, and we cannot have that happen in Illinois.
So you've got McLaughlin talking about the loss of more affluent people from the state of Illinois, and that's just individual taxpayers, let alone the businesses that have upended themselves and taken their business elsewhere outside of the state of Illinois. That's something else, and McLaughlin highlights that with the prospect of the Chicago Bears looking to move out of Chicago.
Hey, even the Chicago Bears are finding Illinois less appealing. I mean, my God, what are they looking at? Moving to Indiana? I mean, so, you know, the Chicago Bears can't even get a deal in Illinois, so they're looking outside of our state. So, you know, it is the policy climate that is about taxing businesses and individuals first and delivering services last. And people have had it. We are, as we know, the highest taxed state in the nation. And what do we get for that? Are we getting any more services than we got 4 years ago? And again, my answer is absolutely not. What we're getting is more graft, more corruption, more political payoffs of the voting class, particularly the public sector unions, are the ones that are getting paid off and continuing to vote for people that will put these policies forward and drive out the middle class and upper middle class residents of the state that we need desperately.
And McLaughlin talking about whether or not there's hope. You know, how much more can you tax? Is it something that can just continue to happen, or is there going to be a sea change of some kind?
I don't think there's much left that the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois, both run by progressive Democrats, there's not much left to tax. You know, what did Reagan say? You know, if it moves, tax it. If it stops moving, regulate it. And, you know, if it dies, subsidize it. I think we're at the point where we're on the stage 3 here. We're about to flatline. There is no doubt, and it's because of these the progressive prescription of failed tax policy and failed overtaxation on businesses. Yeah, it's a really and I think people are figuring it out. And if I didn't think they were figuring it out, I've got 2 small businesses here in Illinois. I would have a foot out the door. But you know, I'm gonna keep, and I don't like the word fighting. I'm gonna keep trying to you know, advocate and get people to understand that you know, policies matter. Forget the personalities. I could care less who's at the top of any ticket. I want to know their policies, and I want to know what their prescription for success is. And the Democrats have the same prescription each and every budget session. It's find more things to tax, find more fees, and it's you know, I love the fact that the governor came out and admitted that the Bears, there's no money for the Bears. Well, you know why? Because so many other hands are in front of the line of the Bears that the governor even understands he can't assist the Bears because he's going to be $2 billion underwater again next year. I mean, it really comes down to policies matter, and high tax policies don't do anything. I'm a Sowell man, Thomas Sowell. He said it best. He said in the last 4 administrations, 2 Republican and 2 Democrat, lowering taxes has done one thing consistently, and it's a fact. It increases revenues across the board. So I like to call myself a soul man, SOWELL, and people crack up, but that man has it right. Let's lower taxes. Let's drive up revenue as business grows. That's the formula of success that's worked over the last 30 years. Maybe we'll wake up here soon in Illinois and start applying it.
Now, the policies that he's critical of year after year, even just looking at the Pritzker administration's tax increase after tax increase after tax increase, fee increase here, and just finding all kinds of different ways to find more money to get from the taxpayers, is that approach going to work? And is the party in power now the party that is going to reverse that course? Again, McLaughlin says that it's going to be up to voters to make the decision here.
The state legislature is supposed to be a part-time job. We're supposed to be citizen legislators, but the Democrats have made these highly paid jobs that allow them to do them full-time. And so with that being said, the Democrat machine controls the people that need these jobs. And they, when they ask them to jump or they ask them to increase taxes or increase service fees, if these 20 to 45-year-old Democrat reps want to keep, or senators keep their jobs, they better listen to the checkbook that's coming from the governor, from Harmon, and from Welch, because if they don't, they're going to lose their $100,000 job, and then what will they do? Guys like me that are doing this for a service have a different perspective. I would do this job for nothing. I'd do it for free, and I can't say that about most people down in Springfield.
Again, that's State Representative Martin McLaughlin talking with the Center Square contributor Glenn Minnis about the ongoing reports of Illinois continuing to see outbound migration and what policies are driving that in his opinion, and how do you reverse course to have Illinois grow rather than shrink. Again, we'll get new updated official annual U.S. Census estimates expected later this month. So we'll be talking about this again and see exactly where those numbers land. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm with you each and every weekday morning here for the Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com, get the headlines in your inbox, and join us each and every weekday morning here on YouTube with the Center Square and Illinois in Focus Daily.